Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel CINECALIBER. So today, I've been working on my way through the ever-growing mountain that is my backlog for movies. You know how it gets. And one title that's been quietly judging me for years now, The Accountant. Why now? Because The Accountant 2 is on the horizon, and I figured, okay, it's finally time to do my homework and catch up on this franchise. So I went in expecting just another, edgy action flick with a grumpy lead and some generic gunfights. But what I got was something way more layered. Now, did it fully stick to the landing? Eh, that's where things get a little complicated. So, we'll talk first about the plot summary. So, The Accountant stars Ben Affleck as Christian Wolf, a math savant with high-functioning autism who cooks the books for some of the world's most dangerous criminals. By day, he's a quiet accountant with a bland office. By night, he's basically Batman meets John Wick, but with spreadsheets. so, but when he takes on a seemingly boring job for a tech firm run by John Lithgow's character, he stumbles on a conspiracy that puts everyone involved in serious danger, including a quirky in-house accountant played by Anna Kendrick. So, let's go into some of the behind the scenes of this film, a little bit of a deep dive there. So, because this film had some pretty interesting roots, the screenplay is written by Bill DeBach, from Ozark and the Jungle. I'm sorry, from Ozark and the Judge. This film was in the 2011 Blacklist, which, if you didn't know, is Hollywood's most wanted list of great scripts that haven't been made yet. Gavin O'Connor signed on to direct, and if his name sounds familiar, he also directed Warrior, which is an amazing MMA film, and later The Way Back, along with Ben Affleck. So clearly they have a working relationship already. O'Connor said he wanted to make something like Bourne, but with more emotion, and you can definitely feel that in certain scenes. Now that's the part I really now here's the part that I really respect. Affleck actually worked with autism consultants to study the behavior and mindset of his character. That level of commitment shows here, and it's rare in this genre. So, the filming started in Atlanta in early 2015. They went all in on practical effects. So those fight scenes, that's actually Affleck doing most of the hand-to-hand choreography, which again, major points. And the soundtrack, composed by Mark Isham. If you've heard his work, you know the man understands atmosphere. The cold, calculated vibe of his visuals and music totally matched Christian's character. Everything feels methodical, sharp, a little sterile, but in a good way. So let's talk about what worked, the good, what was a hit, basically. So this is where some of the things that made the film earn my respect. First of all, was Ben Affleck's performance. Say what you want about him, this is one of Affleck's most disciplined roles. No dramatic yelling, no flashy charisma, just this quiet, restrained intensity that honestly makes Christian Wolf compelling to watch. He nails the social awkwardness without turning it into a parody. And the scenes where he shifts from quiet guy to full-on killer, chilling, but believable. I thought this was a unique genre mashup. This isn't just action guy saves the day. It's thriller meets narrow divergent character study. That combo alone makes it feel fresh. It reminded me a little of Memento or A History of Violence, where the character is more than just their fists. I also enjoyed the fight choreography and the action sequences of this film. These fights, they're clean. They're tactical. There's no shaky cam nonsense, just efficient brutality that fits into the character's vibe. The violence has weight, which I always appreciated. You can feel pretty much every bone crunch, every shot matters. This isn't Fast and Furious, this is calculated violence. The narrative structure was very well done. I liked the puzzle box feel. The story doesn't hand you everything up front. It slowly reveals layers of Christian's past, his childhood, and his motivations. The way it all comes together in the third act, super satisfying, even if it gets a little too twisty. Um, I thought the representation of neurodiversity was done well in this film. Big props to the writers for making Christian capable, complex, and independent without turning him into a stereotype. That's hard to do in action films. The film doesn't treat his autism like a weakness. It's part of who he is, and that's what matters, and was a big part of this film. The supporting cast was stacked. Anna Kendrick brings heart. J.K. Simmons brings authority. John Bernthal brings intensity. Even Cynthia Adai Robinson, underused but solid. They add personality and tension that helps round out Affleck's quieter performance. Then there's the overall tone balance as well. Somehow the film juggles drama, action, and a little dry humor without fully falling apart. It's serious but never too heavy. That's a hard balance to strike. Like I said, guys, we got to talk about what was a miss, what didn't work, the bad. And here's some things the film lost points for me. There was a bit of a tonal inconsistency. It's juggling a lot of hats: dark thriller, character drama, assassin action, financial crime story, and sometimes it drops a few. Some scenes feel ripped from a Jason Bourne movie, others feel like a quirky indie drama. The transitions weren't always smooth. I noticed that as the film progressed. Um, Even though we had some great supporting roles, they were very underdeveloped in this film. I love Anna Kendrick, but her character feels underbaked. Same with Cynthia Di Robinson. They're mainly there to push Christian forward, not fully realize people in their own right, which is a bit of a shame. More depth in their storylines could have balanced this film emotionally, in my opinion. There's the convoluted plot too. Just so many flashbacks. Like, I get it. They wanted to build mystery, but the back and forth gets a bit overwhelming. It breaks the pacing. By the midpoint, it started feeling like they were trying to fit 3 movies worth of ideas into one. Just a little messy there. Um, and then there was the actual autism portrayal. It's a double-edged sword, guys. On one hand, great representation. On the other, it veers into superhuman territory. Like, we're supposed to believe this guy is a lethal hitman, elite accountant, gun expert, martial artist, and socially withdrawn loner. It's a lot to suspend belief for. Um, so just kind of know that going into it. There's just some pacing issues. The first act is strong, but the second act really drags. There's as there's so much exposition, you start losing track of the emotional thread, unfortunately. And just the emotional distance itself, in which I guess this leads to another issue. The emotional core doesn't fully connect here. Christian is detached, which makes sense, but it also means we're kind of kept at arm's length the whole time. Um, and finally, really just the predictability in this film. John Bernthal's twist, I saw that coming halfway through the movie. It's not bad. It's just way too familiar. The film tries to surprise you, but it doesn't always succeed here in some of the things it represents. Um, but that was all, guys. These are my final thoughts, conclusion, rating. Um, so here's where I really just land after sitting with it. The Accountant doesn't redefine the action thriller genre, and honestly, it doesn't even fully deliver on the cool premise it sets up. Ben Affleck's performance is solid, the action is tight, and there are some genuinely smart ideas in the writing. But overall, the film feels like it's juggling too many tones, too many subplots, and never fully sticks the landing. If I'm being honest, I would have to give it a 5.5 out of 10. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. It's one of those films where you can see the potential, but the final product ends up feeling muddled, overly complicated, and a bit emotionally distant. I wanted to like it more than I did, and maybe the sequel will take what worked here and build something tighter and more balanced, but as it stands, The Accountant was more of a curiosity than a must-watch, in my opinion. But what did you guys think if you saw the film? Was The Accountant underrated, or do you agree it just couldn't quite pull itself together? Drop your rating in the comments. I'd love to hear other takes on this one. And like always, thanks for watching. If you've watched, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you want more honest takes on movies from my backlog. And maybe a few where I don't sit on the fence for 10 minutes. But that is all for today. And this is Jake from CINECALIBER.